Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock, practicing necromancer, and multi faith archbishop. So, today I want to talk to you about change. It's important. I'll be the first one to tell you that, okay? Everything over the last few months has weighed considerably, like rocks on a board on my chest. One of the old witch trial torture techniques designed by the church, the Roman Catholic Church, to force confessions from accused witches. But I think even though a lot of this stuff was a shock and I hadn't had a chance to work through them, be it emotions, you know, these changes seem to suck, but at the same time, things were baffling at the same time. Um, my mother having the heart, the triple bypass from her heart attack. Um, you have my now ex girlfriend, mother of my son, who basically fucked around with a felon who's recently on probation. And yeah, there's a lot that went on this weekend, this last couple of months. And then a couple of weeks, and this took place a couple of weeks ago. And I ended up, losing my job because of it. And I could have handled the situation at work a lot better, but I was so goddamn tired and pissed off, and I didn't really give a shit about the job, anyways. It had become boring. So, good riddance there. But didn't help that 4 hours earlier she had told me that she had relations with that felon. And ironically, that felon's ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, was a coworker of mine when I worked for Dunkin' when I first started. Thought he was a friend, and he broke the bro code. Those of you who do not know what the bro code is a set of guidelines that men should know that you don't do to your friends. Like fucking your girlfriend's girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He ought to have his ass kicked for that one, but I just don't have the energy. So, anyways, the last couple of weeks I've been unemployed, um, having to fight for a few other things, and now she's moved out most of the way. I think there's only like maybe 2% stuff still in the apartment that we got to transfer over to her new place. Um, but I'm looking forward to getting back into the practice and the religion aspects of study. So that will be a good thing. And it was interesting because I was in a very dark place over the last couple of weeks. And it was funny because yesterday I was sitting at Tim Hortons over in Brewer, having a coffee, had a muffin, that I turned around and had one of those turkey bacon, sandwiches that they have. And I was sitting there going down through my video streams and stuff like that on my YouTube channel, trying to find some good freaking music that interested me. Because I was gonna sit there and read and write and everything like that, but no. That didn't happen. Somehow I started thinking about the man that got me into ministry. Was kind of curious, so I looked him up and right on YouTube. And it was funny because he was sitting there talking on a podcast about a month ago. Ironically, 1 month to the fucking day. Yesterday, 1 month from the freaking day. Talking about the human element. And I started thinking about my elder. He said balance is key. It is something that is necessary to remain healthy in all aspects of your life. Think of it like your equilibrium. If you don't nourish your equilibrium, then you become unbalanced. You become irrational, emotional, angry, fatigued. Hell, you probably won't even sleep much. Okay, sleep is is something that's very, very important. So, and it really is funny. First coffee of the day. Ironic, I know, since it's almost 2:30 in the afternoon. So, anyways, I started thinking about this, so I started watching this, and I reached out to this guy that got me into the ministry, and I've talked about him before. His name is Wade Townley, and he was a when I first met him, he was a evangelist, and he ended up getting me into the ministry aspect, and it's the best thing I ever did. As a multi faith minister, and who studied a lot of different traditions and religions, and now I've got a doctorate in divinity. So that's kind of cool. And it's interesting because of the fact that it was a message that I needed to hear because the gods, the demons, the angels, the jinn, the Orisha, the Loa, they use weird ways to communicate with you. It may be, something that you stumble across, or it's something that you as an individual would overhear, you know. But to have you sit there and go, huh, I wonder what my old teacher is up to. That's something you don't think about. The Black Tower, what's going on, my friend, in Studio Nor? So, anyways, so I reached out to him through email. I hadn't talked to this guy in I don't know how many years now. I think when I took my now ex-girlfriend there, I think it was like 2, 3 years ago. I know my son was just a little tyke. I want to say he was like 1 years old or something like that. He's now 5. So it's been a good 3, 4 years. So, anyways, so this guy he was talking about the human element and how it takes a human to go forth to do all these wonders. It doesn't matter if it's like, say, because he's apostolic, we'll go with Jesus. It doesn't matter if it was, say, um, Lucifer coming to Eve as a serpent, you know, the sacred serpent. It doesn't matter if we're talking spirits, reanimation of necromancy type practices, where a spirit comes back to life and is so wrapped up in the spiritual aspect that they forget about the mundane. And then when you get into hermeneutics, then you got the microcosm, the little god going into the big god. So again, you're seeing the little god, the man, going into this and trying to become that god, that self-made god through evolution and knowledge and wisdom, enlightenment. I mean, every tradition out there has some form of this, and in one way or the other. I mean, the Loa, for an example, are former saints. They're after saints, just like the Orisha, Santa Morte, even. I mean, they're folk saints basically. They were former practitioners, former people that were elevated to Loa status, and I mean, it's just amazing to see this. So I reached out to another person that I know is in regular contact with my first teacher, and so he invited me to church last night. And so I went there just for shits and giggles. It's like, yeah, why not? I got nothing better to fucking do. I mean, what am I gonna do? Just stay in the apartment, no internet, sitting in the dark, um, with four cats, reading books. I can't do any research on the internet because, well, let's face it, I didn't have my new equipment set up until this morning. So, and luckily, my better half helped me out on that one because it was one device I had no freaking clue what it did. None. I had no clue what it did. It turns out it was like a router. So you have a router and a modem. So you got two different things because I just got the internet, and I'm like, don't we just get the box? What the hell's this like oval looking thing? I don't get it. So again, change, so I mean, and you're doing this in the human aspect. And so you're seeing how former practitioners become the Gadi Loa because this is the non-lineage type practices in Vudan. Whereas, in a lot of aspects, you're dealing with spirits becoming man. How crows are associated with the necromantic practices because of the soul, the migration of the souls. So it's going back and forth here. And so I get there last night, and of course, you get the women over on one side, you get the guys on the other side. I'm looking around and it's like, God damn, fucking 12. What's it been now? 12 years? Seeing how much this place has changed since my first visit there and years ago. That first, and it was funny because of this. They had a guest speaker. He was a minister from, where do they say he was from? California, I think. I want to say California. Because while this guy was doing his sermon, he was speaking in English. And then he switched over and said the same damn thing in Spanish. So it kind of left me sitting there going, reeling, like, what the fuck? I didn't understand why he was doing that. But then I started thinking, is it just me or are all these priests, all these pastors, every time they do a sermon, they always end up with that like that little yeah thing at the end. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but then I started paying attention to the sources of what he was saying. Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 and 2, which is basically, the earth was round, void, and without darkness was on the face of the deep, you know, and such and such. And then he went into Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 11, and was talking about the eagle. Now you consider I've been drinking heavily for the last couple of weeks since the split with my ex-girlfriend and everything that I've been with for have a good one, my friend. Black Tower. You have a good one, man. This will be up so you can actually come back and watch it. So, anyways, so he was talking about the eagle. Now, we all know in occultism what an eagle represents, especially as an animal familiar, a totem. an animal totem and stuff like that. But they're two different things for those of you who don't know. So seeing the representation of the eagle stretching their wings and flying, the need for creation, the need for something new. And I was thinking about this because the day I got done with the job, what did I do? I came home, put on a fucking suit, a monkey suit nonetheless. I'm talking the jacket, the sports jacket, the pants, and I'm wearing sneakers. It's like, hey, if it works for Elon Musk or Zuckerberg, hell, it'll work for me too, right? So, anyways, so I started by putting on that suit, and I went in and I got a haircut, and you know, so I got shorter hair now, and I started getting into philosophy on a massive scale. I started working with Cthulhu. I started working with Nana. And then just yesterday, I started working with Nebo. Okay, so that was something that was new. So you got all these aspects of nocturnalism. Okay, Cthulhu, the Dream Lord, the Lord of the Ancient One of Dreams, he who slumbers. Nana, the Silver Moon, and then Nebo, Mercury, retrograde aspects, the night. And I started working with this. And so when I went there, I didn't know what to expect. I was still trying to process everything that was going on the last 4 months. And then I was listening to this thing about the eagle, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely needed. You need the change. You need to move on. You need to get out of that darkness and that slump. And you got to create. So here it is. I've got her out of my place. She's cheated on me 3 times, committed fraud twice between two different banks, ended up with an SR22, worked so much that our rent was through the fucking roof. And then, like I said, you got my mother's heart attack, her triple bypass, her recovery. You got the fact that she cheated on me. I lost my job right there. That's three things. Three things done, over with. Now it's time for something new. So the question is, what do I want to do? Well, guess what? I'm an archbishop. I've decided I'm done with the mundane stuff. I'm done with the dating scene. I have no intentions of dating again. But I look at what I can do, my knowledge, my wisdom that I've acquired over the years. I'm looking at my ministry. I've set up a group, a paid group for those who want to learn from me on Facebook. I'm creating phylacteries. I'm writing a book. I'm on my fifth essay right now. And on top of that, I'm now unhindered, unhindered, so I can do what I need to do. Yeah, there will be times when I have to watch my son, like tomorrow. But you know what? That's my boy. I gotta watch out for my boy, you know? So, yeah, change is something that is necessary. I mean, if we go into cartomancy, modern day tarot cards, and you pull out the Tower card, what does that symbolize? What does it symbolize? Destruction and creation. You have to destroy something to create from it. Even the phoenix itself burns itself to ashes to be born anew. In Genesis 26 and 27, mankind was created into the spirit first before becoming corporeal in chapter 2 verses 16 and 17. And then by the time we get into chapter 3 verse 16, the woman was separated from the man. You look at Jesus in that aspect. Today they call him Lord. They call him the God. He is the Son of Man. He is the Son of God. He is not God, but he is not man either. He is something in between. But if you look at just about every exactly Studio Noir, every single religion, every single philosopher out there, from Friedrich Nietzsche to Marcus Aurelius, has all spoken on the fact that change is necessary. Even astrologers will tell you that the universe is expanding. You look at the earth, this black ball that we live on. This rock is going through changes. It's not all bad. It's something that needs to adapt. It is something that needs to grow. So guess what? It is something that is necessary. Change is inevitable. It can be a negative thing if you allow it to be, or you can take that step back and look at it, at everything going on in your life, and say, wow, I've really been through a lot and I'm still standing. I'm still standing. Indeed, Studio Noir. So it's interesting to see. I've made enemies, I've had enemies that hate my guts. It's okay. They made me better. I've had ups and downs over the years. It's made me who I am. I've grown. I've adapted. And I've made friends along the way. So you can look at it as okay, I've had 36 jobs over the years, the last 20 years, 36 jobs in 20 years. Well, that could be a little negative because you haven't been able to keep a job. But look at it this way, you became a handyman. You became a handyman because you have all those experiences. Ironic, isn't it? I really got to start turning the volume down on my cell phone. It's over there on the charger in front of the TV. But yeah, it's something that is amazing when you look at things and all of a sudden you start reminiscing over the past. How did I get to this part of my life? This current stage. Why did this relationship fail? Was I that blind? Was I that stupid? Did I lean too much into spirituality and forget about the mundane aspect? Or was I too caring that I drove them away? I don't know. But what I can say for certain is that even though she and I are not together anymore, I'm able to see my son. I'm able to take care of him, you know, do stuff with him, but I've also got my apartment back. I've got my apartment back. So now I can be up as late as I want, do what I do best, and keep it up and keep up what I do. Continue to grow, continue to mature, to delve into philosophies and religions, study, and to teach. If you think about what a magi is, a magus is somebody who's a teacher. A priest is a teacher, a guide. If you think about I'm gonna choose a scripture here, and it's chapter 7, book of Matthews, verses 13 and 14. This is where it talks about there are many roads, but there is only one gate. The gate is narrow. Doesn't matter if you consider to be on the left hand path or the right hand path. It does not matter if you are a Christian or a Satanist. There are many avenues that you walk down through your journey. I can tell you firsthand, I can't believe how much money I spent over the years traversing this country, going from the Northeast to the Southwest to Central America. I can't tell you how much money I pissed away over the years going from to gurus, buying materials, and then to sit there and go, "Hey, have you ever considered the ministry?" No, I have not considered that, but now I'm wondering why you're suggesting it. You know? So, it was interesting because my first teacher, the man that got me into the ministry, Wade Townley, he suggested it to me because I was a good listener. That was his words. I was a good listener. I listened. I learned. And then I went to work, and at the time I was working for Tractor Supply. And there was this pagan, Bonnie Bean, who kept getting beamed by the computer. Ironic. Yeah, some names you just gotta pick on, but anyways, my point is is she's a pagan, okay? Bonnie Bean is a pagan, and she looked at me and she said she sees me as an elder. An elder. So many people see me as an elder, and somewhere along the line, I fulfilled that role, that position. I went from being an ordained deacon in 2011 to an ordained priest in 2013. And then a couple months ago, in August 4th, an archbishop. Skip bishop altogether. Ironic, I know, right? But that goes to show you that through hard work, dedication, and commitment, complete fealty to what you love and what you do will get you a long way. but you got to remain balanced. And somewhere along the line over the last 4 months, it felt like I had been beat down. It felt like the Grim Reaper had just wrapped me in his hand, the palm of his hand, and I became unbalanced. So yesterday, I heard that one video podcast with him and McKillop Jr. from Prince Edward Island, and then which is in Canada, by the way, for those of you who don't know. It is basically what they refer to as a sister church to theirs. It's like two different apostolic churches, but they're considered sister churches or brother churches. And so these two were on this podcast talking about this, and you know the human element. And somewhere along the line, I forgot about that human element, and I shut down. I had shut down. So by the time that day that she had told me that she slept with that felon, that just I went over the edge. I went over that cusp. And I told her, if you slept with him, leave the fucking keys at the door and get the fuck out. Plain and simple. I'm done. And I started drinking. And the funny thing is, hearing that one there and then the eagle testimony, I'm reminded of the Native American story of the boy who wanted to fly. And he went up onto the mountain and he saw an enemy sneaking up on his tribe. He tried yelling. He tried yelling to try to wake him up, but they couldn't hear him. So he jumped off, and the eagle saw him and turned him into an eagle. And he ended up. This is called transmutation, by the way. Think of it as skinwalking, Native American tribes. So he ended up turning into an eagle, and one of his tribesmen had saw this, and he woke everybody up in time before the attack began. So that goes to show you that there's both negative and positive aspects to every trial, every tribulation that you go through. Okay, doesn't matter if it's the seven trumpets, the seven bowls, the seven seals. Okay, it does not matter. The seven woes or the seven thunders, if you will, does not matter. These things are there for you to learn by. These are things that allow you to grow, to mature, and to evolve. Knowledge is power, and true power is undefiled wisdom. Anton Zandalave. Okay? So, even if we go into, say, Denzel Washington, he once said that the devil doesn't attack you if you're doing everything wrong. It's when you're doing things right that he will attack you. And that's coming from a Christian perspective. But what's ironic is one of my elders said once said that when you're hitting resistance, that is how you know you're doing the right things. So let me ask you this. Are you hitting resistance too? Is that resistance something that you can learn from, adapt to? Are you able to see yourself, past and present? How about future? What's on that other side of that cusp? Is it a good thing? Take note of it. I did, and I couldn't believe it because I realized I was sitting there in the rear pew and I started thinking about this, and it's like, a few months ago, a couple months ago, I basically said, fuck this world. I don't need it. I don't need this world. Why? Because the current state of affairs is sickening to me. To me personally, it is sickening. What women do with their own bodies is their right. It doesn't matter if you are gay, trans, bi, tri, whatever. That's your life. That's your personal business. The government does not need to get involved. The legal system does not need to get involved because they have no right to. I don't need this world because of that. I don't need this world because I'm not a socialist. I don't I don't fit in with people. I'm the outsider. And unfortunately, I realized last night that this comes with being a minister. This comes with being a minister because you have to separate yourself from your flock. You have to separate yourself from your coven. Now, my coven ceased to exist a while back, about a year or so ago. But I'm still here. I traded one coven for all of you. For all of you. Why? Because you like what I put forth. You subscribe to my channel. Everything I do for you. You are my coven. You are my congregation. So as an elder, it's my responsibility to arm you with knowledge, with wisdom, with insight upon my own experiences, not just the different traditions that are out there. That's what it comes down to. And realizing that number one, I don't need the world. I'm better off without it. Second of all, I am who I am for a reason. I was chosen. When I petitioned those that I serve, when I petitioned them for wisdom and knowledge to be taken on as their apprentice, I became their responsibility, just like you are my responsibility. So you see how that works. They share their knowledge with me, I share my experiences and my knowledge with you. Change is a good thing. It is a very good thing. It is not something to frown upon, it's not something to look down upon. It's something to learn and grow from. So remember that. All right? Have a good day. And until next time, I want to thank Studio Nor for jumping on here with me and the Black Tower. Thank you for jumping on here, my friends. And for the rest of you that are jumping on after this, thank you. It means a lot. Have a good day.